I have spent about $200 on clothes since 1979. Not 200 a year. 200 total in 47 years. I am 88 years old, and the shirt I have on right now is older than most of the people who will hear me say this. People assume that means I look like a scarecrow. I do not. I look like a man who took care of his things. I am not going to hand you a list of rules. I am going to tell you how we actually did it in my mother's house and then in mine, and you can take from it whatever fits your life. There are 6 things in here. The last one is the one my wife taught me at the kitchen table in 1983, and it is the one that saved us the most money by a long way. So stay with me to the end of it. I grew up in the 30s. We did not have a clothing budget. We had a needle, a jar of buttons, and a mother who could look at a torn knee and see 3 more years in it. When I married in 1961, my wife had the same training out of the same kind of house. Between the two of us, we raised 4 children, and I do not believe we ever bought a single article of clothing that was not either necessary or already on its way to becoming something else. So this is how it went. My mother never bought anything without turning it inside out first. She was not looking at the label. She was looking at the seam. A cheap seam is one loose line of stitching with the raw edge of the fabric fraying out beside it. A good seam is folded over and sewn twice so that edge is shut in where it cannot unravel. That one look told her more than the price ever did. I have handled expensive shirts sewn like nothing, and I have handled work shirts off a church sale table sewn like a saddle. She would pinch the cloth too. If it felt like nothing in her fingers, she said, it would wear like nothing. She was never once wrong about that. The other thing she believed, and this is where people argue with me, is that we were killing our clothes by washing them. What wears a garment out is not you being in it, it is the machine. All that agitation and heat pulls the fibers loose a little at a time. That lint you clean out of the dryer trap is not dirt off your body. That is your shirt leaving. So we did not wash on a schedule. Undergarments and socks went in every time, always. Everything else got looked at and smelled and hung on the back of a chair to air. A pair of trousers worn a few hours in a clean house is not dirty, and we did not treat it as though it were. And what we did wash went in cold and came out onto a line. Heat is what shrinks and yellows and breaks a thing down. My clothes still dry on a line in the yard in summer and on a rack by the stove in winter. I have not owned a working dryer since the Carter administration, and I have not missed it. The tin came later. That one was mine. It sits on the shelf by the door. Needles, thread in 4 colors, and the buttons off every garment I have ever retired. The reason it is by the door and not in a drawer somewhere is that the whole thing depends on speed. A loose button is a 2-minute job. A loose button left alone becomes a lost button, and a lost button on a shirt with no spares is a shirt you quietly stop wearing. A small tear caught that week is a few stitches. That same tear, after another month of wearing, has traveled along the weave, and now you are patching, not mending. I was never a fine tailor, and I am not one now. Mine were never about being skilled. Small and early beat skilled, and late in that house every single time. I own 5 shirts. Most men my age have 30 and wear 6 of them. I know because I have been in their closets after they were gone, and I have seen what was hanging in there with the tag still on. The thinking is that owning more spreads the wear out. It does, a little. But it also means most of what you own sits in the dark doing nothing, and half of it got bought in a hurry on a morning when nothing was clean. 5 good shirts in rotation, aired between wearings, outlasted 30 mediocre ones for us and cost about 1/10 as much. And you stop thinking about clothes at all, which at my age is worth something on its own. Nearly everything I have acquired since 1979 came off a church sale table, out of an estate sale, or from a neighbor cleaning out a closet. But the part that mattered was that I went looking for old. Clothing made before about 1990 was generally built heavier, better seamed, more natural fiber, because it was expected to last somebody a long time. A $20 wool coat out of an estate sale will bury a new one at 4 times the money. I will say the quiet thing about estate sales, since I am close enough to being on the other side of one. You are looking into the closet of a man who took care of his things, being sold off by children who do not want them. I have never felt bad about that. He kept it well, and now it goes to somebody who will keep it well. That is an honest trade, and I hope somebody makes it with mine. And here is the last one, the one I promised you. My wife taught me to take a garment in. Most clothing gets thrown out with years still in it. The cloth is fine. The body inside it changed. A man loses 20 pounds and gives away every pair of trousers he owns. A woman's shoulders narrow with age and the good coat goes in the donation bin. Both of those closets were full of perfectly good cloth and everybody involved knew it. Taking something in is the most useful sewing there is, and it is far easier than people think. You turn it inside out, you pin the side seams where you want them, you sew a new line just inside the old one, and you cut nothing until you have put it on. Cut nothing until you have put it on. That was hers, word for word. You can always take in more. You cannot put fabric back. I have had the same wool suit altered 3 times across 40 years as I have shrunk into it. It fits me today. I will be buried in it, and it will fit me then. She did the shoulders the first time, in 1983, at the kitchen table with the radio going. I did the other 2 myself, and mine are not as neat as hers were. I know exactly which seams are which every time I put that jacket on, and I would not have it any other way now. That is all of it. That is how $200 covered 47 years. I want to be plain about one thing before I go. I am not telling anybody to live like it is 1935. I am telling you that a shirt is a thing somebody made, and things that are made can be kept. None of it cost us anything but a little attention. The needle is cheap. The line in the yard is free. Turning a sleeve inside out at a sale table takes 4 seconds. And it adds up in a way that surprises people. 47 years of not replacing a wardrobe is not a small number. That is a car. That is a roof. Go and look in your closet tonight and find the one thing you stopped wearing over something small. A button, a hem, a seam that let go. Fix that one thing this week. That is where it started for us.